you ever seen how snakes move? It always moves in a curvy manner. It takes a curved path. And what's about an ant? They move in a straight line. That is one after another. Fine. This is how an object or a body or an organisms can move. Different organisms and different objects can take any path, can move in a one form or another. This is what we are going to discuss today in this particular video, that how things move, that is various types of motion. Hi, my name is Radhika Mahajan. I welcome all of you on my channel Study Hub with Radhika Mahajan. So without wasting any moment, we are going to start with our topic, that is the types of motion. We have what we are going to discuss today, various types of motion one by one. That is a translatory motion, then we have a random motion, then we have a rotational, circular, oscillatory, periodic and non-periodic and repetitive motion. So one by one I am going to discuss this particular types of motion. First, start with the translatory motion. What do you mean by translatory motion? Translatory motion means when a body moves as a whole, that is, whole body is moving from one place to another. That is known as a translatory motion. It could be a movement of a bullet fired from a gun. It could be a movement of a car. You can see here that for getting a park, for coming to a parking slot, a car is moving as a whole. Right. So this is what we mean by translatory motion. We have different types of translatory motion. That is, we have two types of translatory motion. That is, first one is a rectilinear motion and second one is a curvilinear motion. So we are going to discuss them one by one. First one is a rectilinear motion. What we mean by rectilinear motion? Rectilinear motion means when a body is moving in a straight path. When a body is moving in a straight line, right? A car moving on a straight road. Fine. While marching, soldier moves in a straight path. And you can see in a figure also that the movement of train on a straight track, that is also a kind of rectilinear motion. Am I clear? Next one is a curvilinear motion. Curvilinear motion means when a body takes this path, this curved path. Fine. The top of a roller coaster. Fine. A merry-go-round. That is also, we can say, a somehow curvilinear path. Then a javelin throw. Before touching the ground, it takes a curved path. So it is also a type of curvilinear path or curvilinear motion. Hence, rectilinear motion and curvilinear motion together known as a translatory motion, because in these type of motion, body moves as a whole. Fine. Now we are coming to our next type of motion, that is a random motion. What do we mean by random motion? Random motion is something when a body is not following any pattern, any particular direction. Body is just moving, changing its direction continuously, changing its speed continuously. So we can say movement of butterflies in the sky, movement of birds in the sky. That is a random motion because there is no set patterns. Right? There is no set pattern. Then swimming, fish swimming in the water, that is also a kind of random motion. Fine. Now, next one is rotation motion, where before coming to this topic, we need to discuss, we need to understand this with the help of this diagram. You can see in a figure that a line passing through the center of that particular object, that particular body is known as an axis of rotation. So what happened in rotational motion? Body is moving around this axis. Can you understand this? Are you able to get this? Body is moving around this axis. Fine. Body itself is not changing its position, but parts of a body are changing its position. You can see here that the parts, or we can say boundary, is changing its position. Fine. One more thing you need to understand here, that here in rotational motion, different parts of the body is covering different distance. They are covering a different distance in case of rotational motion. Fine. We can discuss it with some more examples. That is the movement of hands of a clock. You can see here that it's not moving as a whole. It's not moving as a whole. Only it part, that are the hands of a clock changing its position. So this kind of motion is known as a rotational motion. We can discuss that the blades, that are helicopter rotor, that are the blades of helicopter. It's continuously changing its position. Fine. Its direction getting changed, but body remain fixed. This is how we can conclude rotational motion. Now we are coming to next one, that is a circulatory motion, or we can say circular motion. What happened in circular motion in contrast to rotational motion? You can see here that body is moving along the circumference. Okay. Body is taking a circular path, moving along the circumference. You can see in a figure that it changed its position, it changed its direction. Body as a whole is changing its position and direction. You can think about an example that an athlete's moving around a circular path, running around a circular path. What they do? They are moving around a circular path. They're changing their direction or positions, we can say, but its distance from the center will remain same. So here the difference lies in between a rotation and circular. In rotation, what happened, that whole body is not changing its position, but in circular, whole body is changing its position. Now we will discuss some few examples here, that movement of earth around the sun, that is also a circular motion. Fine. Movement of a train on a toy track. Toy train moves on a circular track, that is also a kind of circular motion. As I discussed, athletes moving on around a circular track, circular path, that is also a type of circular motion. Fine. Now we are coming to next one, that is an oscillatory motion. What happened in oscillatory motion? You can see here that in a case of a pendulum, we can discuss that this bob is moving continuously. This is an initial position. It goes to one extreme, then it goes to another extreme, come back to its original position. This is how we conclude one cycle or one round. So this kind of motion where body moves to and fro, fine, and body repeats this motion, this kind of motion are known as an oscillatory motion. Similarly, you can take an example of a swing. Fine. That this moves to and fro, and this motion is a repetitive motion. Now, vibratory motion. What do we mean by vibratory motion? Vibratory motion is basically a type of oscillatory motion only. This is a type of an oscillatory motion only, but here the difference lies in between a vibratory and oscillatory. Here also body is moving to and fro. Fine. And what happened here, that here the speed of the body is more. Body is moving to and fro, body repeats its motion, but its speed is more in term when we talk about a vibratory motion. Clear? You can take an example of a stretched string of a guitar, membran of a drum. These all perform a vibratory motion. Our musical instrument perform a vibratory motion. Now next type is the periodic and the non-periodic motion. First we'll discuss periodic motion here. Periodic motion says a type of motion which repeats itself but in a fixed interval of time. Suppose if a pendulum is taking, that is a swinging pendulum, if a pendulum is taking 1 second for completing one cycle, it means every time it is taking 1 second for completing one cycle. So this kind of motion is known as a periodic motion also. So can we say an oscillatory motion, when we discuss a body moves to and fro and repeated motion? We took an example of a swinging pendulum. That pendulum also takes a fixed interval of time in completing each cycle. cycle. So this is also an example of a periodic motion because body is repeating its motion, fine, moving to and fro, but in a fixed interval of time. We can take another examples also. Movement of moon around the earth, that is also a kind of periodic motion. Movements of hands of a clock, that is also a kind of a periodic motion. Fine. Then what we mean by non-periodic motion? Non-periodic motion means body is repeating its motion but not in fixed interval of time. When we take a time fix, body is not repeating its motion. You can take an example of a tides in the moving tides in the ocean, right? You can take another example also, that is a football, movement of football in the playground, movement of a motion of a cricketer in between the wickets, that is also a kind of non-periodic motion, right? Now we are coming to our last type of motion, that is a repetitive motion. What we mean by repetitive motion? When a body repeats its motion again and again, that is a flickering of an eye, that is a movement of our eye, that is a fingers movement while playing piano, while playing musical instrument, that is a kind of repetitive motion because we are repeating this motion. With this, I am done with the types of motion, but one thing, last subtopic which we are going to discuss here, that different motions at the same time. What we mean by this, that if we take any example, can we say that a body at a particular point of time is taking one type of motion only? No, body may be taking two type of motion, more than one type of motion, or more than two types of motion at the same point of time. Let's take an example of a moving wheels. In this, you can say that as wheels are moving around its axis, so they are doing rotatory motion also. And if a vehicle or a cycle is moving on a straight line, then the body is doing translatory motion also. In translatory rectilinear we can say. So here it is the body is taking two type of motion. One is a rotation and one is a rectilinear motion. In another example, we can say that the balls are rolling or coming down from a sliding surface. What is happening here? It is basically doing a rotational motion also and again a rectilinear motion also because moving straight. Fine. So what we can conclude here, that at one point of time body can take more than one type of motion also. With this, I am done with my today's topic. If you like my video, please do like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to comment. So I'll come out with the new videos. In my next video, I'm coming with a question answer session on this particular topic, that is the types of motion. So stay tuned with me. Thank you.